Hello and welcome to the office of interviewtechniquesandtips.org. Today I'm going to give you a quick tip that will help you with your interviews. And the tip is regarding the use of I or we when you're speaking, and this includes actually when you're writing your application. And the best way to describe this is perhaps to give you a couple of examples, because I'm going to make a sweeping statement now, so please don't lambast me with you can't make these kind of stereotype judgments. But I'm going to say it, and if you have a comment, then feel free, drop me a comment below. But men and women behave differently in interviews, and this is proven out of people I've trained giving me their feedback, but also I think there's been some studies around the fact that generally men are more comfortable saying the word I, and women are more comfortable using the word we. Now there is consequences for this in the outcome that they will have in an interview. If you say I a lot, then you don't come across as a team player. And you can come across as someone who knows where you're going, and you have a distinct purpose, and you have a sense of yourself very present. But if you say we in a lot of your answers, then you are showing that you relate to the team, but you're not showing that your role in the situation or your contribution to that team. And so you're watering down your experience and your contribution that you have to offer. Now there's a dilemma here as to whether you say I at a time or whether you say we. And what I'm suggesting is that you use both, but use both in a particular way. Now I said I was going to say a couple of case studies. There was a man who was going for a very, very senior post. It was actually a headship of a school. And in his application and then his subsequent interview, he used I a lot because he thought that's what they wanted. They thought that's what they wanted, someone who would show leadership and direction. And as a head of a school, he thought that would be a really valuable approach to take. But in actual fact, it backfired on him because the feedback, he didn't succeed at this particular interview, and it backfired because the feedback he got was they couldn't see he was a team player, and they couldn't see how he was going to bring the rest of the people on. And they pointed out the fact that it was all about him, and it wasn't about what he would do with other people. Now on the other side of the coin, there was a similar situation where a senior manager was going for a post, and she was highly qualified, almost expected to get it. It was an internal interview, so she knew everyone on the panel and everything, but don't always work in your favour. But this was in the area of being a youth services officer, so a senior youth officer in a local authority. And she but the nature of the kind of work in working with community groups and young people is that you tend to use the language of we, inclusive and group team kind of setting. Consequently, when she gave her examples, there were an awful lot of we's in there in the answers. Now the feedback she got is that they couldn't see that she had the leadership that they expected for her to take the department into the new strategy that they were going towards. They couldn't see the leadership because she talked more about the we rather than the I. So when I say that you have to do, it's not saying to all men that you've got to become always talking about the we, and I'm not saying to all women you've got to start saying the word I. What I am saying is you have to find a way in which you blend the two together. So considering that every single post, no matter what the technicality or the specialist skill, they generally involve working with people. and so there is always a teamwork element. So if you're giving an example and you're giving a response to a question, then you might say, when I was working in such and such a team, we were carrying out such and such a task. My role in that particular task was. So you blend the I and the we together, where you talk about the collective, but then you always come back to, well, what your role is. So if there was a scenario, and you might use an example, let's say the scenario was, how do you deal with someone who's not pulling their weight? You know, you'd have to be talking about when they were working in a team, and also when they were taking responsibility of a situation. So your answer will blend the two together. A way of spotting whether you're an I person or a we person is, you need to, when you write your statement or you write your letter of application, have a look at it where you sort of look at it from a distance and see whether the I's or the we's dominate. And you'll notice it because you'll have written them in their particular style. And if you realise there are an awful lot of I's, the person reading it, and it'll be part of your speech as well then, the person reading it or hearing it will take you as being someone who possibly ambitious, but is less supportive of the team. If you notice there's a lot of we's in there, the starting of sentences with we did such and such, when you really should be saying I, then you need to be aware that you need to blow your own trumpet a little bit more. You need to actually speak out and say what your contribution was. What did you initiate? What did you lead on? What did you take responsibility for? And some of the language that we use helps to describe the skills that we have. So if you're I was responsible for, you're talking about responsibility, but you're saying I at the beginning. So you might say, I was responsible for managing the budget for the team. The team, we were all responsible for different parts of that team. However, when it came to my area of responsibility, I oversaw the whole team spend. I'm just using that as an example where you sort of naturally flow from one to the other. So first, 2 steps here really is find out for yourself whether you're an I person or a we person, and where your kind of dominance lies, and then find a way in which to strengthen the weaker part of you so that you blend the two together. That way you don't come across as arrogant, but also you don't come across as submissive. You come across with a little bit of each in a way. So you are able to say exactly what it is you have got to offer, but you're also showing how you'd fit in and how you'd contribute to the team. I've got a few more tips to share with you, but I'll save those for another time. But I hope this one's been interesting and useful for you, and let me know whether you recognise this in yourself, and also whether my sweeping statement of I think that men and women do behave differently in interviews, and that men are more I people and women are more we people. So tell me what you think about that. Leave a comment and share your stories. Okay, until next time, this is Melanie Windle signing out from interviewtechniquesandtips.org. Thank you.